Hey everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Box Score, where we break down every slate with precision and detail so you can make the smartest picks possible. Today, we've got a 5-game slate loaded with injuries, questionable lineups, and some very intriguing matchups, which makes this one of the more interesting days to dig into. I'm going to walk you through everything, from spreads and totals to player props and key betting angles. Let's start with the Celtics taking on the Wizards. Boston comes in as 9.5-point favorites, and on the surface, that number feels slightly off for what the Celtics typically command against teams like Washington. But the dynamics change dramatically once we factor in the injuries. Jaylen Brown is listed as doubtful, marking the first time this season he likely won't suit up. On the Wizards' side, Bal Coulibaly, Trey Johnson, and Alex Sarr are all out, which obviously impacts their depth and rotation. One player to pay close attention to with Alex Sarr out is Marvin Bagley. Bagley has actually stepped up quite well in this spot. Over the last 3 games, without Sarr, he's been playing nearly 30 minutes per game and has hit his points and rebounds lines in every outing. This is particularly significant because the Celtics have struggled against the center position where Bagley is active. Defensively, they've given up the 11th most points and 9th most rebounds to players at his position. Bagley has also been very productive in the first quarter, consistently grabbing rebounds early. Just needing 2 rebounds, and averaging just over 3 per game in this span, this sets up an ideal spot for him in early minutes. For the Wizards, there are some interesting prop plays to consider. On the Celtics side, the usual volume guys like Peyton Pritchard and Derek White are expected to carry the scoring load, but one player who stands out in this matchup is Anthony Simons. He's been a bit inconsistent this season. Some nights he explodes for big points, other nights he disappears. However, with Jaylen Brown out, Simons is poised to pick up extra minutes and opportunities. In games this year where he's logged 28 or more minutes, he's averaging 20 points, and notably, he went over against the Wizards even with Jaylen Brown on the floor, scoring 18 points. This matchup favors him because he can create his own shot off the dribble, unlike White and Pritchard, who rely heavily on someone else to generate opportunities. Simons' ability to handle volume and produce points independently makes him an excellent play here, particularly with favorable points allowed by Washington. Overall, with Brown out, the Celtics will need time to find their rhythm on the road. The Wizards, particularly at home, have shown they can put up a fight against top teams. For this game, I'm leaning toward the Wizards with the points. Boston may still win comfortably, but Washington covering the spread seems like the smarter approach given the current injuries and matchup nuances. Moving on, we've got the Warriors versus the Sixers. Philadelphia comes in as 3.5-point favorites, and this one is complicated due to the sheer number of injuries on both sides. Steph Curry is out for the Warriors, which is obviously huge. The Sixers are missing Joel Embiid, and Kelly Oubre is still out. Jimmy Butler, Al Horford, Jackson Davis, Kuminga, and Quentin Grimes are all listed as questionable, and there's speculation that Paul George could rest due to a back-to-back, so roster clarity will be crucial leading into tip-off. Because of these uncertainties, pinpointing a player for the Warriors is tough. One player who stands out regardless of final declarations is VJ Edgecombe. His rebounds plus assists line has been very reliable this season, hitting the mark in all but 3 games. He's facing a Warriors team that gives up the 4th most rebounds to shooting guards while being middle of the pack in assists allowed. This gives him a solid opportunity at near even money, making him a strong prop to consider. Tyrese Maxey's point total is currently high, so I'm holding off on that until we know more about the other key players. For the lean, I'm taking the Sixers at home at -3.5, but this is definitely a game to monitor as injury reports get finalized closer to tip-off. Next up, we've got the Jazz versus the Nets. Utah comes in as 4.5-point favorites, and Brooklyn will be playing on a back-to-back, which could play a role in pace and fatigue. Kevin Love will be resting for the Jazz, while Jusuf Nurkic is questionable. He's one of their primary rebounders, so his availability impacts potential props and totals, particularly for someone like Lauri Markkanen. The Nets injury report hasn't been updated, but Terrence Mann did not play on Wednesday, adding to the uncertainty. Offensively, this matchup should be high-scoring. Brooklyn gives up the 7th most points per game, while Utah is even more vulnerable, surrendering the 2nd most points in the league. Rookie Ace Bailey is a player to watch. When he's playing 20 or more minutes, he's hitting his three-point line consistently, 7 out of his last 8 games, averaging 6 attempts per game with a 41% conversion rate. His consistency from deep makes him a strong prop option, particularly with Brooklyn's struggles defending the perimeter. On Utah's side, Keontae George is putting up solid assist numbers. Brooklyn has been generous with giving up assists this year, ranking 5th most to opposing teams, and George has hit 7 of his last 10 games in assists. There's also a clear angle with alt lines. Adjusting the assist line down slightly dramatically increases his hit rate from around 65% to 85%, making him a prime candidate for parlays or daily prop picks. For Brooklyn, Michael Porter Jr.'s points line has risen into the high 20s, and he hasn't historically thrived on back-to-back nights. Meanwhile, Noah Clowney has been excellent in scenarios where Cam Thomas is out and Porter Jr. is active. Over the last 5 games in that setup, Clowney is averaging 22 points per game. With Utah giving up the 2nd most points per game, this looks like a perfect situation for him to exceed his line. The lean for this matchup is taking the Jazz to score heavily on the road against a fatigued Nets team. Hopefully, Brooklyn can keep pace, but Utah's scoring opportunities are clear. This brings us to the halfway point in today's slate. We've covered injury-heavy games, intriguing matchups, and some of the most compelling player props. These games require a lot of attention to detail, and keeping an eye on late injury reports is critical to maximize success. Be sure to follow Beyond the Box Score for daily breakdowns, injury updates, and deep dives into props, spreads, and totals. If you're serious about elevating your betting game and staying ahead of the market, make sure you're subscribed, hit the bell for notifications. Next matchup: Lakers taking on the Raptors. Toronto comes in as 1.5-point favorites, and the game is already complicated by key absences on both sides. The Lakers will be without Luka Doncic and Marcus Smart, which obviously affects their floor spacing, playmaking, and defensive rotations. On the Raptors' side, R.J. Barrett and Jakob Poeltl are both out, which opens up opportunities offensively, particularly for Brandon Ingram. LeBron James's and Austin Reeves' points lines have skyrocketed as a result of these absences, especially Reeves. LeBron himself hasn't been in this kind of scoring rhythm recently, so seeing his line pushed this high is notable. One player who stands out with Jakob Poeltl out is DeAndre Ayton. I checked his line, and surprisingly, it wasn't elevated. The Raptors have been solid defensively against wings this season, but they are only middle of the league against centers. Removing Poeltl makes this matchup significantly easier for Ayton. He's hit his points line in 67% of games this season. In scenarios without LeBron and Luka, he's played 4 games and averaged 21 points, hitting the line 100% of the time, which shows his consistency and potential upside. This sets up a favorable scoring opportunity against a Raptors team that is already adjusting without Poeltl. For the Raptors, Brandon Ingram presents one of the most appealing matchups of the day. The Lakers have struggled defensively against the small forward position, surrendering the most points to players at that spot. Ingram is facing the team that originally drafted him, which gives him added motivation. With R.J. Barrett out, Ingram has been taking high-volume shots, 30 in one game, 23 in another, and 26 in a third, showing he is not hesitant to assert himself. Even last year with the Pelicans, Ingram went for 32 points against the Lakers on 23 shots. He is in the perfect scenario to capitalize on volume and matchup advantage, making him a prime candidate for points props today. Considering these factors, my lean for this matchup is toward the Raptors at home. They've been playing strong basketball in Toronto, and the Lakers' missing stars make covering the spread a challenge. This lean takes into account home court advantage and the Lakers' current offensive limitations without key contributors. Next up, we've got the Timberwolves facing the Pelicans. Minnesota comes in as 11.5-point favorites. This is a rematch of the December 2nd game, which was an absolute shootout that went into overtime, with the Timberwolves winning 149-142. Back-to-back games between the same teams are always tricky, as the second contest often unfolds differently despite travel being minimal. I've seen these flips many times, like with the Rockets and Jazz recently, same teams, different outcomes the following night. The Timberwolves are healthy with no notable absences, while the Pelicans will be without Zion Williamson, Jordan Poole, Bey, and Herb Jones. This creates several prop opportunities, but also raises concerns about potential blowouts. Minnesota has more talent and should logically control this game, though the Pelicans did overachieve in the last matchup. On the Pelicans' side, Jeremiah Fears is one player worth highlighting for points. He's shown an 80% success rate in scoring 15 or more points when Jordan Williamson is out. In the previous matchup against Minnesota, Fears scored 21 points, and the Timberwolves are middle of the league in points allowed to point guards, so this isn't an especially tough matchup. The only risk is coaching decisions, as he has been benched previously due to rookie mistakes, but the consistency of his scoring makes him a strong prop candidate. Another Pelicans option is Saddiq Bey for points plus rebounds. With Herb Jones out, Bey maintains a 100% hit rate for points plus rebounds, and he recorded 22 points and 6 rebounds in the prior game. While Trey Murphy did grab an unusually high number of rebounds last game, Bey remains a reliable option for a double-double, making him a solid play in a game where the Pelicans may struggle to keep pace. For the Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards is a must-watch. He has the best matchup for shooting guards in terms of points, a fact underscored in the previous game where he exploded for 44 points in overtime. Edwards has now scored 30 or more points in 6 straight games, showing no signs of slowing down. The only concern is the possibility of an early blowout leading to reduced minutes, but his consistent high-volume scoring makes him a key player to target in props and totals alike. My lean for this matchup is firmly on the Timberwolves to cover the 11.5-point spread. While the Pelicans may try to stay competitive, Minnesota's talent advantage and ability to adjust based on recent film make them the logical pick. That wraps up our analysis of today's 5-game slate. Every game has its intricacies, and these lineups and injuries provide both challenges and opportunities for sharp betting decisions. As a quick recap, the parlay of the day hit at Onyx odds, and the chalkboard play also went through, proving the value of understanding matchups, injury impacts, and player trends. I'll continue to bring detailed breakdowns like this to help you navigate each slate. Make sure you're subscribed to Beyond the Box Score, hit the notification bell, and check the pinned comment for daily prop picks, spreads, and betting angles. Stay sharp, make informed plays, and I'll catch you in the next breakdown.